Good morning. Arthur Offaly speaking on behalf of the Arthur Offaly Foundation. Now, I would like to say a few words on behalf of my group, the Arthur Offaly Foundation. I must have been the only person who watched the BBC Spotlight show about those corrupt politicians who stole hundreds of thousands of pounds out of the public purse. Yet, no other charity, only mine, has raised the massive fraud. I wrote to other charities, also to the RUC, PSNI, why no one has been questioned about the crime, but got no response at all whatsoever. Now I find that 15 MLAs have retired, and these so-called politicians will be getting £500,000 to share between them out of the public purse, the very purse that they stole from. Now that cannot be right. These politicians were named and shamed, yet not one of them offered to pay back one penny. That money belonged to the public purse, and those same thieves are asking the public to vote for them again in the elections in May. Surely the public has had enough of them. They are on the radio and TV day and night. No shame, no morals, no remorse for what they have done. Yet we have homeless people sleeping in shop fronts and dying on our streets here in Northern Ireland. And of our so-called RUC PSNI have not questioned or arrested anyone for the crimes. What sort of a police force have we? I asked 6 charities to come with me to Stormont to protest about the fraud. Not one took my offer up. The reason was they refused me because they all get funding from Stormont, so they have to toe the line. Now let me say that my organisation, the Arthur Offaly Foundation, gets no funding at all from Stormont or any other agency, so I don't have to toe their line. I was glad to hear the news that those people in Liverpool got some justice against those corrupt police after 27 years, after the brutal killings of their loved ones. It was a long battle, something similar to my own case, my father's case, brutally murdered by a Sinn Féin IRA police informer who colluded with the RUC, PSNI and the British Army to murder my father 42 years ago. At least those people in Liverpool got some help in their battle for justice by people around them who stood up and fought for justice and demanded that those scum be brought to justice. I am proud of them. More than I can say about the people here in Northern Ireland. I have fought my father's brutal murder for over 42 years and got no help at all from anyone of that corrupt government agencies here and the corrupt RUC PSNI. Have done everything in their power. They've told lies, they've got rid of all the evidence at the scene of the murder of my father. This coming from a so-called police force called the PSNI. Also, the corrupt court services here and legal people have done nothing to help me, only collude with the RUC PSNI. I find that the court services and the legal services, also the RUC PSNI, should all be disbanded because they serve no purpose here in Northern Ireland. This is, in my eyes, the most corrupt country in the world. You would have to live here in Northern Ireland to see how these people work. When you take all of the above and add our corrupt politicians who cannot keep their hands out of the public purse, then you have our health agencies. Let me say that this country is in a terrible state. What can you expect when you let terrorists, murderers and bigots run the country, acting as politicians while our so-called police force, the RUC PSNI, stand idly by and do nothing only harass the innocent public. Then you get that so-called judge in the Legacy High Courts handing down a 3.5-year sentence for killing a man. That judge should be sacked straight away. But of course, he is not the only judge in that corrupt court that should be sacked. But of course, the old boys club will stand by them and cover up for them. And the corruption goes right to the very top. Hence, my call for them to be despondent, closed down, and also pulled down. And a good use would be to turn it into a car park. At least it will serve the public. For as a court, they are a complete joke. Then you get those solicitors and lawyers running about with their little trolleys. All they worry about is their legal aid form to make sure it is filled in so that they get their money. Your case comes a pure second to them, away down on the list of their priorities. Then you get the family courts, where members of families are not even allowed into the court. It is held behind closed doors. It puts me in mind of a kangaroo court. And these so-called legal people call that justice. Now, in my eyes, that is an injustice to one's human rights. And the sooner the public stand up and demand that these corrupt courts go, the better. The only ones making money are the judges, solicitors and lawyers. And it all comes out of the public purse. Shame on them. They are a disgrace. Now it is time for the public voice to be heard. After all, it's your money, the public purse, that these corrupt people are stealing from, and I would call that fraud. Now, just to finish, my group has been asked to help a Mr. David Barr, who has been harassed, bullied, threatened and abused by the RUC, PSNI and other members of the public. Now, further statements are to follow as inquiries are ongoing. It is sad and disheartening to sit back and watch those charities, health authorities, health welfare authorities and many other groups who are supposed to support the most vulnerable people in our society, who are our down and outs, our homeless people, our alcoholics, our hungry people who have to use tough food banks to survive, and those poor people who end up sleeping in our shop fronts and end up dying on the streets of Belfast. In this 2016, it is a bloody disgrace. These are the vulnerable people that the public purse is supposed to help, not those so-called greedy scum calling themselves politicians who should be brought to court to stand trial for what they have done. Yet, those who are supposed to care for these people have let them down badly. But of course, they are like the politicians. They are all paid out of the public purse by that corrupt storming where the fraud started. Now, I'm glad that my charity, the Arthur Ruffley Foundation, does help people 24/7, and that we are not affiliated with any of the above groups mentioned in the statements. My group will be organising a protest march to go to Stormont. Those corrupt so-called politicians will have to stand trial for what they have done. Anyone who would like a tape of this story or any one of my stories can call me on my mobile 07715 921137. Leave your name and address and I will send you a tape free. Thank you. Anyone who has a story to tell and wishes me to air it can call me on my mobile 07715 921137, or I can send a reporter out to get your story. And remember, I will tell your story as you tell me. Nothing will be cut out. Watch more of my stories on YouTube, arthurrafferty.com, YouTube Arthur Rafferty, Arthur Rafferty Docker, YouTube Jack Spot 2012. That is a tip about the brutal murder of my father by a 5-man gang of Sinn Féin IRA led by Freddie Scappaticci on the orders of the British government. the RUC, PSNI and the Special Branch. Now that Sinn Féin area scum scapitici carried out their orders on their command. Now my email is orthodoxy1@gmail.com. Thank you for watching PSNI TV and listening to the Orthodoxy Foundation, and I will see you soon.